guys to another video. So we continue with our build. So if you haven't seen the previous video or the tutorial where we built this header, please check it out, and I'll put that link in the description below. Please like, share, and subscribe if you guys are liking this, what I'm bringing to you. And yeah guys, please like, share, subscribe. It really keeps me motivated. So here we built our header. So now we continue with our build. So here what we're going to be building is this part of AlgoExpert. So we're going to be building this part, so please bear with me. I'll omit this other three parts because it's the same as this ones. You guys will see that we'll make use of the power of React, of reusing components instead of us doing this thing over and over again 6 times. So then you guys can add just whatever icon you want. So we'll just do this first 6, and then this I'll omit because where will I get this asset and all that. But then what I will definitely be doing is this part if time allows us, this cube. So I believe this cube was done by pure CSS, unless maybe they did it some other way. But then if it's not pure CSS, I don't know. But then this can also be done by pure CSS. So but then let's come here and let's start with this part. Alright, so here what we do is we'll need another component, and then let's name this component, let's say main content.tsx, and then here let's just say tsrefc, and come on, code snippets. Like, I'm really lazy to type that out, and then we bring that up there, and then say that, and then let's bring that here, right, and then that should do me justice. And then we'll say yeah for now, just to see that it shows. Let's say that is main content, right? So now let's take this here on the header. Just want to add the fc. I don't know why I forgot that, because at the end of the day that's how we're using TypeScript to have things typed, right? So I believe so do that. So it is not necessary, but then it's just something that I like to do, just using TypeScript. Yeah. So yeah guys, so let's just give that there, and this should be an object. And then right here what we want to do is we want to bring the main content. Let's import that, and then it didn't auto import, so we control space, and then it auto imports for us. Right, so now that should be auto importing. And then secondly, to tell you guys, I already pre-downloaded the assets that I need for this. So the assets, I found them on this site called Flat Icons. So why I did that is because I saw it taking a bit of some time to download, so I didn't want you guys to see the whole process of downloading, which I'm sure you guys didn't want to see, that me waiting for assets to get downloaded. So you guys can get this asset here in Flat Icon, and then I can have this link in the description below so that you guys can get your assets. Right, so right here we have the main content showing. So let's just see what's happening here. So we need, what is this? And then okay, so I don't know, I might so currently I might not know how that is being done, this thing of this effect, I don't know, but then maybe along the tutorial we'll see how that is done. So let's just continue with what we know and all that. So what I can say here is I can give this a class name and say main content. So yeah, I'm just giving it a thought process of my thoughts, right? So I can say main content, and then underscore header, right? And then here what we'll do is we'll have the content, right? So but then here on the content you guys will see what we'll be doing, right? Because we don't want to be repeating, having tons of code here. So what we'll do is right here we can say that h3 or h2, I don't know, h2 maybe, and then we say what is AlgoExpert, right? but then now we can save that, and obviously that's not the end of everything. But then now we wanna create a new component, and then we'll say content layout, or you can say main content cards, something like that, because there's a card, something like that. I don't know the proper word. So at the end of the day, it's just the functionality that we want, not the proper wording and everything. There's no right or wrong. That's me validating what I'm doing. Okay, so let's see, we get that done, and then we put that there. So what am I trying to do here, guys? So watch this, because I'm not the kind to be repeating everything, right? So definitely I'll need props, right? So definitely I'll be needing props. So interface and then say props. I don't know why I deleted that, it's just a num. So what I'll be needing is the icon, and that icon will be a string, and I will be needing the text, and that text will be a string, right? So that's what I'll be needing, and then I'll say props, and that will take that props, right? And then and that is not assignable to that. So let's see if we do that. Okay, so it works fine like this. So whatever that works and doesn't break the app, it's fine. Let's go with that. So we bring in those files. Let's remove that there, and then now what do we want to do here, guys? So the aim with this is, once it gets the icon, so let me just show you. So once it gets, we'll pass in this icon, and then we'll pass in the text. Oh yeah, we should have the text, the header text, and the paragraph text, something like that. We'll see how we can name it. So we'll say header text, and then we'll say paragraph text, and then that is a string. Alright, so let's bring that comma there, and then that should do. So but then now what must happen? So we see that everything is displaying flags and like that. So what we can do is, we'll say class name, and that is a card, and then here we have the card underscore icon, and then here we'll have an image, and then source it up with the props dot icon, and then this will be the content, say content icon, right? And then that should do. And then now we'll say card underscore and then header text, and then in this header text, let's give it an let's say h3, and then let's give it the props dot header text, and then finally we'll say card underscore paragraph text, and then let's give it an h5 saying props dot paragraph text. Alright, so now this will be the layout that we'll be reusing over and over again. So now we come in here, and then we say main content cards, and then it will need some props, right? As you can see, it's telling us that it needs some props, that is icon, header text, and paragraph text. So now what we do is we open here in our assets, right? So now we'll be using this. Okay, so I forgot this in SVG when open, but then atom 1 is what I know that I should use. So but then let's see that layout here. So we start with this checklist, right? So what I'll do is I know that this check.svg should be the one, so I'll say checklist from, and then images, images. So what's happening with this? I traverse like that, so it was assets, I'm saying images, and then I need check.svg, and then that should do me justice. So now what we do is we say icon, that should be the checklist, and then we need paragraph text. So with paragraph text, what are we gonna be doing here? So obviously I'm not gonna be writing things, so just copy that and then just leave it like that. Tick. So I press that, so copy like that, and then have that, put it like that, right? And then we give it the final prop, that is the header text, and then the header text here, I'll open the mail. Why did I do that? So I need that, which is 110 handpicked whatnot, and then paste that there. Then now it's no more throwing any errors, right? So those are the props that will be passing down to this thing, and then let's see once it loads, and then let's see what's popping here. So while that is doing its thing, let me close the what we call the small thing, and then now what's happening right now, it's finishing its compilation process, and then let's see if I didn't butcher things and things are working just fine. So you see we have the checklist like that, but then obviously we'll need some restyling to this. So okay, so now how we can do this, because the main style is within this thing, right? So that's the benefit, that's the good thing about styling this whole entire thing. When you're styling this tiny bit of code and forgetting about this right here, but then yeah, obviously some logic must happen in terms of CSS. So I can say I can say main content cards, because I don't know if we're gonna be having any other cards. I didn't really run through this whole entire website on my own, so everything is raw and uncut with you guys. So okay, let's take the CSS to this left side, right, and then I can remove this import, it was useless to me. So now we import from style sheet, we want to import main content cards.css, and now what we do is we come here, we say this should display me flex and show me a flex direction of column, and then obviously I don't want to be okay, let's align items center, align center from okay, I think it is aligned center. Let's align center, and okay, so that should be it. And then obviously we can go some box shadows, because obviously, so there's one thing that you also have to realize, that so obviously now we need to get this box shadow, and I won't be able to find the exact name of this. So this is how 9 out of 10 people that are doing your clones, they will definitely get to look picture perfect. We get this from your inspect elements, and I see this box shadow, right, the value of this box shadow. So I can see for a fact that this transition says a lot about everything, but then what I'm interested in heavily is the box shadow values, right? So the box shadow values, unless maybe I give it my own box shadow values, because there's no need for me to be 100% to this thing. Okay, so if I don't find this thing, I'm definitely gonna use my own box shadows. No lie, I'm definitely gonna be using my own. So okay, so I'm not finding those things, guys. Yep. A so-called developer failing to, okay, here we go. I was about to say so-called developer failing to what we call to use the inspect element. So yeah, we have a hover effect, and then we have that box shadow, right? So who on earth would have known those exact values? Alright, so okay, so mine is not showing. So but then we'll see what's happening. We'll debug that as time goes. We'll see. And then what I also need is a transition, because you guys saw it is smooth, and the transition I'll say box shadow and 0.3 seconds, right? So as you can see, it's big. I'm sure you can see that box shadow, but then it's big. So but then now how do we handle that? We come back here. We want to give this a width, say 15%, and then we want to give the icon itself some bit of width, which will be 100% of 15%. So yeah, so we'll say this is the content underscore icon. So I copy that, and then I'll say give it a width of 100%. And then now what else do I want to do? So the text and everything. So let's wait a bit and see how everything is looking. Okay, so my image is not getting resized, as you guys can see. I'm not getting resized. Or is it my eyes, or am I not getting resized? Is it my eyes, or I'm just not getting resized? Or maybe that was part of the compile, because I've been saving things, so maybe it was part of the next compilation process. I don't know. So let's see if we get this image being resized and all that. So you see those silly things are the one that are holding us back. So yeah, we can see we're getting resized, but then it's still looking a bit too big. I'm not liking that. So let's give it a 7% for the sweet spot, and then hopefully 7% could be the value that I'm looking for. And then most definitely this thing must be centered, and this width, man, is a bit sketchy. You see this width, something that we'll have to look into. That width, most definitely something that we'll have to look into. But then let's just make sure that everything in terms of like sizing and all that gets well. Okay, so I think now this should be fine with regards to that shape size. So now let's add to the content. Let's close this. Let's go add where's the TSX? I don't want this one, on the main content. So now let's add another entry or another part. So we want the video, right? So what will be the thing? There is the monitor screen, something like that, I don't know. So let's say video screen from assets, and then we say monitor dash screen dot svg, and then that should do me justice. And then now I put in the main content cards, and then I do it like that, and then I need the icon that will be the video screen, and then I need the paragraph text. Let's go grab the paragraph text, which is this one. Let's leave the learn more. Come on, man, why is this thing? Let's do that, and then let's put that here, and then let's put that like that, and then we'll need the header text, and then on the header text what we'll bring is, come on, please don't press yourself. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the header text, we'll grab that, and then we do like that. Right, so now I don't know why that was spreading out like that, and then now that should do me justice, and then now that should be there. Right, so you see why it was simple, just me adding text and me redoing everything like a bunch of times. So reusing this component is so like best practice, React, and then do that, and then I'll say icon. So now what icon do I want to add? I want to add this atom whatnot. So now how do we bring that in? Let's go to our assets, and in our assets what we want to do is we want to import what is that thing for? It is data structures course. Let's say data structures from that asset, and then I think there's an atom1 1.svg. But then obviously you guys will be having you guys icons and all that. So disclaimer, I didn't get the exact icons because yeah, I don't know, I couldn't get the exact icons, but then at the end of the day it's not that important. Come on, man, like I hate this. Paragraph text, and then I finally need the heading tells of data structures crash course. Header text, let me just write it myself, data structures crash course. Alright, so we have that there, and then we'll grab the main content again. So yeah, it's a bit tedious, guys, but then it's better, maybe it might be the better solution, I don't know. So we need that code whatnot still. I don't know between those two here, so let's just go to assets again. So I think coding one will be the one, so I don't know. So let's say code screen from, and then assets, and then we'll say coding dot svg, and then we want to give the icon, and then we'll say code screen, and then we want the paragraph text, and that paragraph text I have to copy because that is longer. So I'll say that, and let's just go back up. I'm sorry for this back and forth. And then the header text we'll write ourselves. So header text, and then this is the solutions in 9 languages. Right, and then what else do we have? So code execution environment and all that. So we'll say import code exec env from that. So just lazy to write that whole entire code execution environment. So I'll say coding, and then brackets 1.svg. That should do me justice. So now we bring back that, we'll say main content card, and then we have the icon, which is the code exec env, and then the paragraph text, and then we'll grab that, and then it takes me down. I'm sorry for that. let's go back up again, and then we'll paste that there, and then we'll say header text, and then my header text is code execution environment. So we'll say code, I don't know if it was like this, code execution environment, and then finally, because I said I'll end here, we have that. So the final one, then we continue styling it. So I think is the molecule for that one. So import space time analysis. So these are bad names obviously, but then I don't know if better names. So it's a molecule.svg, and then let's do the last one, and then we see if we have time for the cube, and then we'll say icon, we'll say molecule, I said space, man. Space time analysis, and then paragraph text. We'll grab that, and then let's go back up, and then put that there, and then paragraph text. Oh yeah, it's header text. The header text is space time analysis, space time analysis. We paste that there, right? So let's just bring this in, what's like that. So now we should be having things stacked all over like that, and yeah, so we're looking decent. So now it's time for us to style this thing. So we have this like that. So how do we style this thing? So the styling will come into play on the main content. So we need a CSS for the main content. So we can close this now. So we need main CSS for the main content.css, and then put that to the side, and then I say import, and then style main content.css. Right, so now what happens is we grab this main content, right? So we wanna display flex for this, and then we want to flex direction of column. I want to align item center, and right, that should be it for this one. And then I can margin top, let's say 3 rems, and that should be it for the main content, container, level up and everything, if that's what I can say. So let's see here, it looks like I was having a compilation error, so it's not finding, cannot resolve this thing, because I can see I have 5 assets there, not 6. So how do I do this? So let's just close the CSS for a bit. Let's see what's happening with this asset. Alright, and then what do I write? I wrote coding with an E, and that one didn't include an E. Alright, so yeah, so now that should solve my problem. And then let's bring back that CSS again, and let's take it to the side. So now once that compilation is done, now I will definitely see my assets in a row that is 6. So now we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so now what do we do now? is now let's grab this one. That's what we're interested in right now, the header. So I want to margin bottom things, let's say 2 rem, 3 rem, and then I'm interested in the header, and then I say header text. Alright, so with this header text, what do I want to do? So let's see how this is looking. So since this thing has a color of this thing, if you guys can see, that's what I believe. I might be wrong, so I'm not even having that energy to inspect element. So what I'll do is I'll just do it like that, and then hopefully that might be correct. So now what we do here is we want to give this thing a font size. Okay, let's the main content header, let's also give it a width of 100% because it's along at the top, so it should work fine. Give this one a 2 rem, give him a font weight of let's say 300, and then give him a color of, say, what's that color here? I'll get it in the header, not the TSX, wasn't the CSS, that bluish color, this one. Alright, so that's the one that I wanted. I'll give it a color of that, so hashtag, put that there. Alright, so now let's see what this looks like, and then we come back here, and then while we're waiting for the compilation process, so what next we should be able to do right now is handle this one by displaying flex. And then you see here on the hover effect there is a changing color, and because I don't know with if here I'm sure they're using SVGs, that's one thing I can assure you. So if they're using SVGs, then most definitely to get these colors a filter was used, so that's what we're gonna be making use of. Alright, so we have that looking like this, and then it's doing like that, right? So let's give it a 400, and then let's text align center, and then that should do me justice. And if text align center doesn't work for me, then most definitely margin 0 of auto should work. So yeah, as I was saying, most definitely a filter was used due to the use of SVGs to make those change color on hover. So we'll look into that. So we have that, so that kind of looks similar-ish. I don't know why it looks proper. I don't know why. So now let's come to this card. So even though we don't get it exactly as is, we're just having a rough overview of what could be happening. So here on the main content, right, so let's look at what's happening here, and we'll get the whole gist if we have also that open. So what's happening is this content is the one that we want to use to display flex. Alright, so we'll say display me flex, and then justify content start. Okay, let's see what happens. So why I'm saying justify content start, because I always want them to be on the start, and then we'll definitely flex rep and then margin them, and then we'll see where everything goes. Right, so we're taking everything piece by piece, and then we're having something like this, right? So most definitely justify content space between flex rep, I want that to rep, and then we'll definitely also deal with the icons a bit more, because you guys can see now the icons are now looking bad now that everything is flexed and all that. So we'll have to definitely see to it that we fix that. And then let's see, so as you can see things are doing like that, right? So why is doing like that? It's no problem. Watch this. So we come to the main content cards. So the card must have a width, because I want them to be 3 in each, and then in order for me to have that, it means I have to say 100 divided by 3, and my math is getting a bit poor. I think maybe 33.3. I don't know, so if that's not proper, I don't know. So 33.3, a width of each and every card should be 33.3, and then hopefully my math was not poor there, and hopefully that applies with CSS. But it should, man, it should. So we're having things looking like that, each and everything 333. Right, perfect. So but now, because I want some spacing between these things, let's give them a width of 30 instead of 33.3. Let's give them a width of 30. Hopefully everything still will maintain the rows of 3. Hopefully everything will still maintain that, and then we'll take it from there, and then deal with the width of those things, because it is a bit too small. Alright, so we have that spacing there, so now we're looking good. So now, but then look at you, we have that nice spacing, and my things are touching a bit too much of the walls and everything. So what I'll do is it is simple, because now we've reduced everything. I can margin left, let's say 1.5 frame, and then hopefully that will give me a good spacing, and if need be, this thing might reduce to maybe 35, not 35, that's not reducing, maybe might reduce to 25, 28, somewhere there. So let's see where all this takes us. It's a nice train, nice movement. We're still moving properly. Almost definitely, because the text within the box shadow will definitely need a padding, so hopefully that padding doesn't ruin the margin. So the padding and the margin, hopefully those two don't ruin each other. So we'll definitely see to that. So the ones on the right, so okay, let's just see. So now I want to peg this, let's say 1.5 frame, and then let's margin left that 1 frame. Alright, so now let's see what happens. So now obviously we'll need to take down this. Okay, after this we'll now come to the images and then give them a bit of size, say 20%, maybe 15, because right now we're on 8 if I'm not mistaken, or 7, and we're having things like that, right? So this is definitely something that I won't want. So most definitely we wanna remove your margin, and let's see what happens. Alright, so this is something that we don't want. We want everything to be stacked in 3s. That's the main goal here, having everything stacked up in 3s, just like AlgoExpert. And yeah, so okay, so the padding seems to be a bit too much for that. So trial and error, guys, it's the name of the game. Trial and error is the name of the game. But then right now you can see that we were having a good enough spacing, unless if one run doesn't give me good enough spacing, most definitely I'm gonna be reducing the width of the content. If this run doesn't give me this nice spacing, most definitely I'm gonna be reducing the width of this content. Yeah, most definitely, because the spacing is very imperative for me to have. So let's just see what happens now after this compilation process. Okay, so I still have a good decent spacing around these things, but then I obviously want to give it a margin bottom, say 1.4 rem, and then that should be fine. So now let's come to the width of this icon, right? So the width, let's say we give it 15% and see what happens, because we need a nice visual representation of those icons that are here. And then the card, each and every card must have a cursor pointer. That's one thing that we also need. And yeah, so from there now, before we get to the hover effect and everything to scale the image, we will come to the spacing of those texts so that they are nicely spaced downwards. So like margin bottom the header text and margin top it, so that it's not right at the top and it's not touching that. So something that we'll look into. Okay, so the sizes are looking good, they're looking nice. I cannot change anything. This is now looking nice for me. So now what we do now is we need to the text, right? So definitely this is not important right now because I want to be styling the content in the cards. So now we open the card component so that we can see what we need to do. So now what I need to handle is the header text must have a margin bottom and a margin top. Alright, so we give that, and then we say margin top that, let's say 1 rem, and then we want a margin bottom, say 1 rem. Right, maybe that should do me justice, I don't know. And then what else do I need from that? So once I have that margin and everything, so now I can handle the hover effect, right? So for the filters, right, there is this code pen that I love to use called Css Filter Generator. I don't know who did this, so I cannot give credit to the person, but then this person did a decent job, and I cannot pronounce that name, but then it looks like it's Sosuke, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce that. So and this thing is what we need. So if you guys want, I can have that in the description below so that you can play around with the filter and everything to handle the SVGs. So now while that it's compiling here, so here you can see we're having a sort of like a light purple-ish change to that, and it's also scaling up the SVG. So that's what I see, right? So because so there's no need for us to get the right color, so I'm lazy to even inspect element for that. So what then we'll do is we'll use this UI color picker, and then this UI color picker will get a light purple. So I think maybe this one should be it, or this one. Let's just one more time. I think this one, I don't know if that's not the one, it's whatever, as long as you guys see the main idea of filtering SVG icons, right? So now what we do is, okay, so what happens, so on hover, right, so we need this card to transform and scale 0.1. so I think the transform, okay, so on hover of this, so yeah, we need to dynamically do this. So how we do this, we say card on hover, and then the direct child, which is this icon, so we want to pick up the card underscore icon, and then I wanna filter. Alright, so if that makes sense, and I'm not sure if I should put this one here, but then let's put it here on the hover effect. So where it hovers, it also scales that. So but then I think this should do me justice, that when this thing is on hover, I want the card icon, which is the direct child, to to have a filter of that color that we put, and they should transform scale of 0.1. So let's see if that will do me justice. So moment of truth, guys. Let's wait for that to compile and reload, and then we try and have it on top of that. So hopefully that works. You know, with code it doesn't always work first glance, but then there we go, we have that scaling, we have that changing color, and it is scaling. Alright, as you can see, so it is a smooth scale, you guys. I'm sure you guys can see mine is just bursting up. So let's see if we can get that smooth scale, right? So for that, I'm not sure, guys, so I'm just thinking right now, maybe transition and then ease in and then should ease out, and let's give it a 0.4 seconds. Alright, so yeah, so I don't know about this, but let's see if that will give me a smooth transition here, because now we have that have an effect on changing that icon color alone. So this is what I believe, maybe by AlgoExpert they're using the very same logic, but then at the end of the day there are 100 ways to solving one problem in programming. So my transition is not working right. So let's say we put that, yeah, I don't know if that doesn't work, I don't know, guys, but then as long as we have the idea of the how they changing colors, because at the end of the day there's a professionals doing this job, and here's me just trying to make a YouTube tutorial. So yeah, that's where the difference lies, guys. Here we have hardcore professionals, and then here you just have a second year computer science student. But then so far so good, guys. I can see we're doing a good job. Oh, here's that transition, you guys can see the transition, but then look at that, it's giving me a light, a bluish kind of vibe. I'm not sure if you guys can see that blue when it first starts out, but then we're having the transition. I don't know why that blue, it's because of this, yeah, it's not because of the ease in, it's not because of the ease in, but now let's just give it an ease in. And then, but then as you guys can see that we have a nice transition. So now let's just see, let's see if it's ease in and out. I don't know, guys. So we just, okay, so either way we're still getting that same effect, having it show blue and all that. But then you guys, I'm sure you guys can solve that problem. So right now what we're about to do now is the final part of this video. So this will be the final part of the homepage, and then we'll add the back end on the next video. So what we are about to do right now is we'll just add this cube, and then in the next video we'll now lay out everything like this. So right now I just want to add this cube because this is a nice touch to this website, I must say. So now what we do is, now let's come to this, let's put that there. Hopefully I'm still looking good in time. I don't want to make loads. Let's say cube, let's say cube, yeah, let's say cube.tsx. right, so let's say tsrafc. Let's get those snippets, and I'm lazy to type this thing, so let's get those snippets. So here most definitely I won't need props, and then we'll now give this a class name, and let's say container. And then for now what we need is, we also need a div called the shape, and then finally we'll need divs which will be having each and every picture. So what we'll say is, we'll have the first picture, we'll say 1, and then we'll have the second picture which will be 2, and then we'll have the third which will be 3rd, and then we'll have the 4th, and then we'll have the 5th. Let's say 4, let's just keep it as 3, let's just keep it as 3, 4, 5, and then 6, because the cube has 6 shapes, right? So now let's just get this assets. Alright, so we come here, let's say Golang image. So we get that Golang image, and I don't want a large one, man. I don't want a large one, but then Golang alone, that should do. I think this one should do. So we say save image, and then I want to save it within the project directory. Say home side project AlgoExpert client source assets, and then we'll give it a name. We'll say Golang. Alright, hopefully it is Golang. And then what else do I know? Let's say Java. So Java, let's just take this one. So I'm just going to be taking an image that I see. Say Java. So yep. And then what else do I need? Let's say what is AlgoExpert having this Python, right? So let's say Python image, and then let's grab this one. Okay, let's just grab this one without any box shadows there. So let's say Python, and then let's grab C++. Let's grab that one. Let's say save image as, say, C++. And then, so what else? Node.js is a JavaScript image. Okay, let's just say JS because maybe it'll give me an abbreviation. Also say JS because I need that kind of one, right? So let's say save image, and then let's say JS.png. So let's see if we have 6 images, guys, because I lost count. So we have 3, 4, 5. So I'm missing one. Let's see AlgoExpert. There's Golang, C++, JavaScript, and I can get one more. Let's say TypeScript. Let's say TypeScript image. So TypeScript image. So hopefully this will be the last image that I'll be needing. Alright, so now we come out there. So now we come here. Alright, so let's import everything. So let's import JS from assets, and then JS with a letter. So JS.png, and then I want to import Golang. I say Golang. Import Go from assets, and then the name is Golang.jpg, and then I want to import Java from assets, and then we want to import java.png, and then we want to import so we have 3 right now. We want to import the 4th one. That's a py from assets, py for Python, and then python.png. So we have 2, 4, and then 5. Import type script from assets, and then we'll say type script.png, and then 3, 5, 6. So we'll see C++. Hopefully this import is acceptable. So let's say C plus, let's say just say cp from assets, and then we colon C++ dot png, and then that should be it. So now let's have those images here. So say image So whatever that we want, guys, we can start with JS, and then we'll say image, and then we'll say go, say image, and then we'll say Java, so image, and we'll say pi, and then we'll say image, we'll say type script, and then we'll say image, and then we'll say CP. Right, so now that should be that. So now let's take this cube in the app, this so-called cube, and then obviously right now we should be seeing disaster. So hopefully this cube doesn't take us too much time, because yeah, it could be a bit daunting to do this, but let's see if we can pull this off within the next few minutes, and then let's see what time we're at. So we're still looking good with time. I don't want this to run this video like for quite a long amount of time, so let's wait for that to compile, and then let's see those images. Right, we having those images looking like that, right? So now we have to get those images to be one cube. Right, so now how do we do this? Let's close this. Now let's have a CSS for cube.css. So cube.css, so let's get that there. Let's bring this here so that we can be seeing everything, and then let's import style sheet. Let's import cube.css. So now with cube.css, now what do you want to do is, first thing we need to we need to deal with the body of this container, right? So this container, what do we want to do to it? We want to have this thing width of 100%. We want to have it an overflow of hidden, and then we want to give it a perspective. So we'll say WebKit perspective, and then let's say 750. Alright, so apply the same transform, blah 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 blah. So it's not important for me. So now this shouldn't necessarily do any major changes to this, as you guys should see right here. This shouldn't necessarily do anything, right? But then let's continue digging into this thing. So now what then do we do is, we now want to handle this shape, right? So with this shape, what do? We want to have this thing position relative, so that those things can position absolute and play around with their positions, and then give this a top, let's say maybe 120 pixel, and then we want this to be at the center at all times for now, but obviously we'll definitely see to it. So let's give it a width of 250 pixel, and we'll give it a height, same thing, so that we can have that square shape, right, 250 pixel. So right now we want to give this thing an animation, so we can say WebKit animation, and then we'll give it a name for animation, and then we'll say 20 seconds, and then infinite linear, right? So I could have just said animation, could have just sent this like that, but then yeah, still the same thing. So we want to give this a WebKit transform, and the transform style is what we're looking for. So the transform style is preserve 3D. So that is what we want. So that should be what we want for the shape of this, because the shape, remember, is the container. So that's what we want. So remember here, guys, I could have just written animation and transform, so I just got used to using this. At the end of the day, it doesn't make a difference for me, unless there is someone who tells me that there is a difference that is made, then most definitely I will listen to you. So now we can see, okay, so now let's come to this margin container. Let's give it a margin bottom, because I want to scroll down, man. I want to scroll down. Let's give it a margin bottom so you guys can see now. Surely everything should be stacked inside one another. Surely everything right now should be stacked inside one another. So let's just see that, and then we take it from there if things are not stacked up. So it's a bit weird. Let's continue there with my cube. Hopefully this doesn't end in a fail, but then let me try and not embarrass myself. So now what I want to do right now, okay, so we have that. So remember with this here, there's sort of like transparency here. So I'm believing, I might be wrong, here it's some bit of opacity that given in the images. So I could do the same thing, can say image, right? So the image, I'll give it an opacity of, let's say, 0.8, and then I will have a transition. I'll say WebKit transition, and then I'll give it an opacity, give the name of the transition that I want to play around with, and then 1 second. And then now, before we go on, let's handle the div of each and everything, right? So what do I mean by this is, we'll say shape, right? But then we wanna grab the div within the shape. So what we do is we wanna have this thing having a bottom of 1 pixel, solid, let's say #33, some darkish gray, and then we want to have this being a position of absolute, and then we want to give this a width 250 pixel, and then we want to give this a height of 250 pixel, right? And then we want to give it a border radius, and I'll say WebKit border border radius, WebKit border radius, and I'll give it a 4 pixel, and then we'll say the WebKit transition, and then with this transition I want to give it the name of the transition that I'll be playing around with. I'll say WebKit transition transform, and then I'll give it a 2 seconds, right? So now we wanna handle the image width and height so that they're always occupying 100% of their given what we call given parent. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. The given person should always be 100% of its parent. So that's what I wanna do right here. Alright, and then now this is where the animation comes into play there. So let's say, hopefully I get this properly. So let's say WebKit keyframes, and then the animation is the spin. Remember the spin that we named here, that was the one that we want. So remember, I could have just written animation. So we do that, and then that should spin from WebKit transform, and then right here I want to rotate y from 0 degrees or 0 dag, something like that. You can write like that. I could have just written 0, and then I also want to rotate this thing. You also want to rotate x, so I'll say rotate, and then I want to rotate x, right? So x, which is 0 dag, right? So that is from, and then we are going to, and then I want to say WebKit transform, WebKit. So why I'm using this is because I just learned about WebKit and everything, so I thought maybe I should show you guys. So whatever I learn, I also learn with you guys. As I said, the beginner giving out tutorials, valuable tutorials to you guys, so at least you guys can resonate way much better with the beginner than 50-year-old developer, like a 50 years in development person. Right, so yep. And then right now we want to do with funnel. So this is the animation. So we having things like this. So as you can see, everything is like maybe looking a bit bad-ish. So let's see how this is looking, guys. So let's just finish the final touches and then see what's happening with this thing. So right now, what I want to say is I want to grab the first image, so which is 1, and then we'll say WebKit. So it's very much easy to relate with someone that has just started, not recently obviously, but then that has just some basic knowledge, and then relating to someone that is, because they talk in deep language that maybe you don't understand or I don't understand. So that's the benefit of a beginner like me giving it like tutorials. Many of you relate to what I do, and yeah. So we give number 2 we'll say WebKit, and then we want to also transform that, and then we want to translate that for this. So if you guys want me to do a tutorial specifically on this CSS and everything, those kind of things that I'm doing, then I can gladly do that, because this project is a bit long, so I wouldn't be able to give out more in depth to what each and everything is doing. And then so right here when I rotate Y, and then we'll say from 90 degrees, and then that should also translate Z, and then when I translate Z from 125 pixels, right? And then we go to 4. So now with our phone, we wanna WebKit. So remember, I could have just written transform, guys. So I myself still to research on why would I use WebKit over transform. So something that I also look into myself, so, and ask some of my mentors and see what would be the real difference. 125 pixel, right? So I'll say 5, and I'll say WebKit transform, and then I want to rotate Y from 90 degrees, and I will translate Z. I'll translate Z to maybe let's say 125 pixel, and then the last one, which is 6, we also want a WebKit transform, and then we want to rotate X, and then this should be minus 90 degrees. This is the 6th picture. We want to translate Z 225 pixel, and then this one we want to rotate a Y, right? So instead of the 51, instead of just rotate, we want to rotate Y. So let's wait for that to compile, and let's see what we get. So as you can see, we're getting something there, but I don't know why it's breaking, because you can see my image is breaking there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but then it is breaking. I'm sure you guys can see that. It's just plain to see that we have some breaks there. So that is compiling. So let's wait for that to compile. So it's successfully compiled, and let's wait for the refresh, and then let's see what is happening with my cube, because I don't expect this. Okay, so why is it hiding? There, as you guys can see, this thing is like hiding below this thing. So now, why is this thing hiding? Because I gave it a margin bottom so that I can see the whole thing. Let's say 10. I don't know guys. So there is like sort of like me debugging right now to see why am I not seeing the content below. Right, but then as you guys can see, we are having that cube and we're having that transparency, so that opacity definitely really came into play there. The opacity. So let's just see what's happening here. So let's just wait for that to compile, and then on the next video, then most definitely will now. Okay, so I don't know why this thing is hiding. What's happening here? Okay, so I have this top. So let's say top of 100. Let's see something. 100 pixel. So I don't know why this thing is hiding below. I don't know why this thing is hiding below there. Because it looks like I have here, like I have like a Z index that is putting things inside. I don't know if it makes sense for this, what I'm saying. But then my point, I'm sure that you guys understand my point. Okay. So this is definitely overflow hidden. Okay, let's remove the overflow. Okay, and then let's see the actual what will happen if we remove that overflow. Hopefully it doesn't strike us in a bad way. But then we are looking, I'm glad, but then this is just the beginning, guys, because there's still that part where they analyze algorithms. Honestly, that part I don't know how the AlgoExpert guys actually do something like that. And then here we go with our cube. So as you can see, we have our cube. So it was that overflow that was ruining everything for us. So here we go with that cube. So now what mode we want to have in this cube? So they're having this color. So let's see, let's inspect element, and then let's see if we can get the background color. Okay, so I'm not getting the background color of this thing. Okay, so it's fine, guys. I really don't mind having things like this, unless you guys want to add something, but then just to hit the point so that everything hits home. Remember, I could do this. This is just me trying out WebKit. Like, this is the first time even like using WebKit in a project. I've never used this WebKit thing. I've always wondered why this thing, what this thing does. So if you guys know, comment down below so that I can learn with you guys. So same thing here, guys. Like, we could just do this, and noting that nothing should break within our code. So I could remove that. So let's just make our life easy. So wherever where we have WebKit, okay, nah, that won't work. So let's just remove like that. So just for this to hit home, that I could have just written the normal transform. So this is me just learning. So if you guys are keen for this, especially the text editor. Like, I did some research and I found a nice cool text editor that we will be using here, and it is the one that is powering VS Code. What about that? So the text editor that we'll be using is the text editor that is powering VS Code, and you guys can research about it if you guys want to do that, but then I don't want to spoil you with more content. Like, we'll keep that as a surprise on what it is. Alright, so as you can see, so I'm just waiting for this to compile so that you guys can see that WebKit was just me just trying out something new. I've never used it. I don't even have like full knowledge of what it actually does, but then all I'm sure of is it doesn't have a difference. It wouldn't have an effect to this cube or anything without WebKit or with WebKit. So yeah, so this is basically the tutorial of today. We covered this, we did this, and then we also added the cube. So this cube was a very nice touch to the AlgoExpert. I must give them props. And this is what our cube looks like, even though it's not, yeah, it's not, you can see that this is professionally made. You can see this professionally made. So yeah guys, if you guys like this video, please like, share and subscribe. It really does keep me motivated to bring you more guys content, and looking forward to giving more of these videos. So see you guys later in the next video, and goodbye.